Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to the Deep Space Carrier series here at Elite Dangerous. We are continuing in the Space Whale, as you can see, trying to do exobiology nearby our carrier, and yeah, that's what we're doing. I don't know, the same intro over and over again is getting kind of old for me. I want to do something that catches people's attention and all of that, but at the same time, it's like the same thing over and over again, so I get bored. So, it is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. We got today and tomorrow, I think. I'm kind of past the point where I'm worried about my upload schedule being every single day, because I end up having to record extra episodes on the 2 days before I have a day off, and I don't want to do that anymore. So I'm just gonna record, and then we'll have a couple of days of no episodes, and it is what it is. Oops. I don't know why I was in combat mode. Yeah, whatever. It is what it is. In the last episode, we did. Are we okay? The fuel level didn't look like it was going up, so I'm a little confused by that. In the last episode, we found ourselves a nice little 3 biology planet. Found a couple of cool-ish things, but it wasn't exactly like the most amazing thing. I'm really hoping that this week we're gonna find something really interesting, like maybe some of those geometrically shaped ones. I always forget the name. And it's like a bar of soap. The more I try to grab onto it, the further away it goes. So, you'll know what I'm talking about if you've seen this before. The name will come to me eventually, probably after this episode has been recorded, and then it'll pop into my head later and be like, oh yeah, that one. But yeah, we're flying around in the Beluga because we have the fleet carrier, and I brought a bunch of different ships, and we're just kind of cycling our way through them until the Mandalay comes out. The Mandalay will come out later this month, I believe. We're going to go ahead and because this is an exploration channel, I kind of don't have a choice but to just go ahead and pre-purchase it to get into that as quickly as possible for, content creation reasons. And also just the fact that we're out in the black and, yeah, by the time we get to, if it ends up being several months between the early access release and then the actual you can buy it at the station for credits release, then we may have left Colonia by the time it becomes available, and then we'll never be able to get it. So because of the timing of all of this and the way it's coming out, I don't really have a choice but to just go ahead and get it. So yeah, that is what that is. Let's see, before we get too far into the video, I'd like to ask you to help us to reach our next major channel milestone of 10,000 subscribers by hitting that subscribe button. The number does not go up unless you actually press the button. Like, it doesn't just go up because you think about it, it goes up because you press the button. So please be sure to press that button right now. Hit the like button to help the video spread out to more people so that they can watch and also, maybe potentially subscribe. And then when you're done watching this video, be sure to head over to the channel itself. We have more than 1,700 other gaming videos on the channel. I play a bunch of different stuff, and it's organized into nice and easy to find playlists and things like that to make it easy to find whatever it is that you're looking for. So when you're done here, go check out the other games that I play. Now, as far as Elite Dangerous goes, I try to remember to bring it up every episode because, the more I repeat it, the more chances I have to find people who are interested. But I would like to set up a deep space racing league based out of my carrier, or, maybe a group of carriers for people who are interested in taking their carriers out into deep space. But anyways, the idea of it is that rather than hanging around the bubble and trying to figure out a racing situation there, we get a bunch of racers who want to come and use the carrier as their base of operations. The carrier takes them around, and they can just hop in whenever they feel like it, whenever we're going to do a race. It gives us a couple of things to happen. It gives people who are interested in racing something else to do besides the, already provided things that, the developers have provided us to do, which most people have decided are... that's going to be Fonticula. We're too early in the episode to be worrying about Fonticula. Because, a lot of people complain about the fact that there's just not that much to do in the game. You can go a lot of places, but there's not a lot of, different things to do. So my answer to that is always, you kind of have to create your own adventure. It's very much like Minecraft in that regard, although you don't have the insane customizability that Minecraft provides you. Regardless, I think doing a racing league of some kind would be really cool. Be able to find like canyons to race in for either ships or SRVs or, however it is that we end up deciding to do it. I think it would be kind of fun. If you're interested in trying to do something like that, be sure to head over to the Discord, and if I get enough interest, I'll create a separate, not a separate Discord, but just a separate text thread in the Discord for racing, and we can start figuring that out. And we'll also give explorers something else to do, although it won't be a monetary thing. It will be a, hey, we're hanging out as a group kind of thing, and you know, as you're exploring, looking for exobiology signatures or any other things you might be trying to find, you could be on the lookout for cool places to race. So we just add our own things into the game that make it more fun. All right, so that's I think that's all of the typical standard announcement kind of things that I try to go over when I do these videos. We have our carrier reposition live stream every Sunday at 6 p.m. Where we come and hang out live, and you can chat with me or chat with everybody else on the stream when they show up. And yeah, I have a list of topics that I try to come up with throughout the week to just kind of go over when we get there. Random stuff that I think about throughout the week or that I see and I feel like, oh, that'd be something interesting to talk about. And yeah, that's what that is. Okay, so we're not there was a lot of biology in the last system, but unfortunately it was mostly 1 and 2 biology bodies, which means that it was going to be bacteria and fonticula, especially on those icy bodies. That's usually what 1 and 2 source bodies. Man, it's hard to say. That's normally what 1 and 2 source bodies end up being. 1 source is going to be bacteria, 2 source is going to be bacteria and fonticula. That's almost always what it is. Now, does that mean that that's only ever what it's going to be? Of course not. There's always a chance that you're going to find something interesting. I have several longtime viewers in my Discord who continue to try to make the case to me that I should always check out these single biology planets on the off chance that it might end up being something. My response to them is always the same. It's absolutely possible, and that you're going to find something really cool there. But the numbers tell me, especially with my extensive iterations of scanning things over the last, I don't know, we're almost approaching a year of a year of this particular series, and many years of me exploring on my own. The numbers tell me that the odds of me finding something cool like that aren't worth the time it takes to actually go and visit each body, because especially in this ship doesn't even have the SCO on it. So especially in ships like this without the SCO, and for the majority of my time we haven't had SCO. Like that only came out in the last couple months. So our recent trip out to Beagle Point, that was all regular frameshift drive. There was no SCO, nothing that made it easier for us to do anything. So yeah, it's just I'm the kind of person who doesn't like to waste time, and it really bothers me to go spend a bunch of time doing something and end up not getting what it was I was looking for. So, unfortunately, because that last star did not have any fuel in it, we're going to have to swing back around and try this again. Fling our way through here. Hopefully top off this time. I want to try to keep my speed up so that when the heat becomes too much, we already have enough speed to kind of fling ourselves out of here. Alright, that should be enough. I wasn't paying attention to the numbers. I think it might have said 12. Nope. Just the 1. So we're just going to head out. Next system. How many more jumps do we have? 3 more jumps, and then we'll set ourselves up for the next one. I generally try to stay within 10 jumps of my carrier, just so that when we're done exploring for the week, I can just run right back to the carrier, dock, and be prepared for our weekly carrier reposition. Now, I'm fully aware. I say this every time I mention it because I know there's people out there who, some in a desire to be helpful, some in a, you're stupid, but they leave comments, or some people leave comments saying something along the lines of, well, you can move your carrier from wherever you happen to be. I know. I'm fully aware of that. I choose to go back to the carrier because it provides everybody who would like to come and hang out on the carrier, or people who are stationed on the carrier, who have stationed their ships on the carrier, a chance to come and hang out and actually be there in person. Because, despite the fact that... Despite the fact that we're not doing anything, sometimes it's nice to just go and actually feel like you're hanging out in person on the carrier with somebody, with people. Like, it would be really cool if that series ended up becoming something where, once a week we're all kind of just hanging out and messing around on the carrier, finding ways to make that fun. But for now, it's just me talking, and, you know, it takes time to build up something like that. So I try to make sure that I'm on the carrier to give everybody who would like to an opportunity to come and hang out while we sit and chat about stuff. All right, off we go to the next system. Unfortunately, no biological sources here. But that's the thing about exploration. You got to keep going until you find something. It is what it is. I talked in the last episode. I have some tweaks that I would like to be made to A, the Beluga, and B, fighters, or yeah, there's a couple of different solutions, and I talked about it extensively in the last episode. So if you're interested in my solution to making the Beluga more exploration friendly, I talked about that in the last episode, and it mentions the Beluga by name, so you'll be able to find it. I don't want to spend every episode that we're flying this thing talking about that, because that's going to get boring really quick. But, you know, it is something that I really wish that the developers would somehow get their hands on and then actually find it to be something that's worth doing. Because I think it would make, you know, not just for the Beluga, but exploration in general much more fun. Okay, so... because there are other ships that would benefit from some of the things that I mentioned there. Okay, so we got this here. Geological. We are looking for biological. I did forget to bring up my elite observatory, so let me have a second to get that started. I forgot to bring it up this time because I had to leave it off last time because I had a camera that I was having to, you know, keep an eye on while I was doing this stuff. There was an event here on the property yesterday, and I had to make sure that nobody parked in my wife's parking spot because, you know, that it would be really frustrating to have to work all day, then you come home and there's no parking. And those of you who live in highly populated areas are very familiar with that feeling. It kind of sucks. And it kind of makes you mad because you've been working all day, you're already tired and impatient, and you just want to go home and get comfortable and not have to deal with anything, and then some jackass parks in the spot that you have set aside for you. That's going to be bacteria on a single biology almost certainly, so we're just going to leave that alone. Alright, let's see what else we have here. Seems like everything here is... well, I mean, rocky bodies have a good chance of having some pretty diverse biological sources, and because we've already found one... well, I guess not. Now it's all just icy bodies. I'm not even going to waste my time on the rest of those icy bodies because it's almost certainly going to be Fonticula if we find anything. So there's that. Yeah, so it sucks when you work all day, you're tired, you just want to chill out, and you get home and your parking spot's taken up by some jackass who decided they were going to park there. And then, you know, and if you live in a city area or a highly populated area, you're very familiar with that feeling because the more you cram people together, the more inconsiderate they become. I think a lot of that's just due to the fact that because there's so many more people, everybody's a stranger, so there's no holding people accountable. It's just some strange person that parks in your spot. Even if you all live in the same, even if it's a person who lives within, you know, a couple of blocks of you, you probably don't know who they are. You probably haven't. There's a good chance you haven't even seen them before. Like I live in the San Diego area, and especially because of our new antisocial proclivity that we have as a society, you have people that live within a mile of you that you've never even seen before because, you know, we don't have that neighborly thing anymore, which doesn't bother me. I am one of those antisocial people. I don't really want to hang out with people I don't know, and I'm not super interested in meeting a bunch of new people. I guess, you know, if somehow my channel becomes something that somehow becomes popular, like I get enough people where I actually get like a fan base of some kind, obviously I'll have to adjust that attitude a little bit. Because, you know, my viewers are important to me, and I want to make sure that you guys understand that. But at the same time, my natural default setting is avoid people. I want to avoid people. I want to have my privacy. I want to have my own space. I want to do my own thing. I don't think I could ever be like a major movie star or something like that because it would bug me to have people just constantly trying to bother me all day. That would annoy me to no end.
System scan complete.
All right. So we have to go ahead and figure out where we're going next. I generally go in the direction that our carrier's going. This is where we are right now. The bubble's way back here, and we're on our way to Colonia out in that direction. So I guess we'll come back this way and head over say to this guy. It's not enough. I would like to get at least 10 jumps. So let's head... I mean, we can do corners. I should do corners like that, because I just want to be 10 jumps from the carrier. It doesn't have to be just only 10 jumps total. Alright. So now we can head off towards the next corner. So I generally try to do like a square around the carrier or something like that. And as long as that square keeps me right around 10 jumps from the carrier, then I'm content and happy. And yeah, it's nice to be able to do that. Because like tomorrow's episode, we'll probably spend that time making our way towards the carrier, and then landing, selling off our data, and then then we'll be prepared for our reposition on Sunday. So yeah, there's that. Sorry about my nose. It's not full. It's not congested enough that I feel like I need to blow it, but at the same time, it's congested enough that I'm having to do that every once in a while. So apologies. I'm one of those people. I don't think I have allergies, or if I have allergies, I always have allergies. I'm one of those people that got cursed with a bad nasal setup. And I'm also just not the kind of person who really wants to do a bunch of medication. So for those of you who are going to say, "Oh, there's nasal sprays that will take care of that," I'm aware of them, but I don't like taking pills. I don't like taking like aspirin and stuff like that. Not from a philosophical standpoint or anything. I just you build up resistances to medicines over time. So if you're constantly taking them, they become ineffective, and I prefer to wait until it becomes a very serious problem, so that when I do need it, my body is ready to use it, rather than, hey, we built up a resistance to this. And then also, especially for pills, for whatever reason, it doesn't matter what I do, even sometimes when I eat food after I take one, it gets lodged in my throat. I don't know why. Like, I can't take a pill without eating something afterwards, because it will 100% just sit there for like an hour or more. No matter how much water I drink or anything like that, it just I don't know. Maybe there's a pocket in my throat somewhere where the pill will just sit there. I don't know what it is, but it will sit there for a while. And then if even eating something afterwards sometimes doesn't fix the problem. And sometimes I'll eat something and I'll still feel it just sitting there. It's like, ugh, come on, can you just go down, please? So, like especially pill related things, I don't want to do that. And then the powders, like you could take it. There's a lot of them that are available in a powder form, but then you have to taste the powder, and it's like, I'd rather just deal with the mild headache. I'd rather just deal with the mild headache. And then the nose sprays, like there's a really good nose spray that will completely. It comes in a little glass container with the little thing, the two handles, or whatever. I forget what it's called. You can let me know in the comments what the name of it is. I forget. But I've used that before. Man, does it work. But you're only supposed to use it every once in a while. It's not intended to be a continual use kind of thing. I think they have daily use ones. But again, I don't want to do it. I don't want to constantly be taking medicine. It's annoying. For me, taking medicine is at least as annoying as the symptoms that I have. Now, if it ever gets any worse, then obviously, you know, the cost to benefit ratio of that will change, and I'll probably make a different decision. But for now, I'm still young and young enough and healthy. I don't want to say young because I'm not really young anymore. I don't think I really fall into the young category. But I'm young enough and healthy enough that you know, I'm still able to avoid the constant medication state that you know, I'll probably end up in the next 10, 20 years, something like that. I'm not looking forward to that part. I'm really hoping that we come up with that you know, de-aging technology or whatever it is that's going to make us live forever in the next 10 years or so before I have to go through that, because I don't really want to. I don't really want to go through that. That's what they say, anyways. A lot of the futurists are saying that it's feasible that my generation could be the first generation that never has to die. That could be kind of interesting. Depending on how they do it, it could be interesting. I don't know that I would want to live out the rest of eternity as like a robot or something like that. I also don't know that I would want to live out the rest of eternity uploading my brain into a simulation. Not because I find the idea objectionable from a moral standpoint, I guess. Like, I know, like, a lot of religious people would have a problem with it because of, you know, obvious reasons for that. But for me, you know, as much as I don't necessarily, like, I've tried to be religious, I've tried to do those things, and I just, for various reasons, I couldn't get into it all the way. You know, I tried. I made an active effort to try to dive into that, and it just, life circumstances and things like that, the way they worked out, it convinced me that that was not the path for me. But I still have a feeling that there's more to us than just the skin and bones and physical things that are a part of us. And, you know, when you start thinking about things like clones and things like that, you know, who's the real person? You know, if I had a clone made of myself right now, set up in reserve, all the experiences that I have as me, even if we figured out a way to... I wasn't paying attention. Even if we figured out a way to impart those experiences to the clone, is that really me? Am I going to feel like me when I inhabit that new body if I have an accidental death or something? Like, the clone that results from that will absolutely feel that way, but I think we all have this intrinsic feeling that there's something unique about you that can't be transferred to anything else. And so that's why I'm like, I don't really want to remove too much of the biological component of all of this stuff, because it kind of, there's an intuitive feeling that we have that there is a connection between our biology and whatever it is that makes us us. And you remove all of that and you try to store that in a digital medium, or you completely remove all of your biology and become like an android or something like, or an android, yeah, I think androids, what is it? It's there's a term for fully mechanical and a term for the hybrids, and I forget what it's called. Androids, I believe, are fully mechanical devices that look like humans. And then there's I think it's like cyber something or cyborg. I think cyborg is the term. Seriously? Wow. Okay. I'm curious to know how much damage we've had. Yeah, we've had a fair bit of damage. This is the biggest, probably the biggest problem that I have with the Beluga, is just the heat management is ridiculous on it. You would think with all of the surface area that this ship has that it would be able to dissipate heat like crazy, but for arbitrary reasons, the developers decided to just gimp the Beluga to no end. The Anaconda gets all the love, and the Beluga is like, nah, you're just a troop. You're just a people carrier. Go have fun. Go have fun being a bus driver. It could be so much more, but it's not. Anyways, yeah, I love the idea. Like, if we could get, my favorite version of the whole living forever thing is nanites that you inject into your body, and their sole function is just to go around repairing things as they break. That would be my ideal version of, you know, the whole living forever thing. They go through and they repair your cells when they break. Maybe they're small enough to get inside your cells when they break. Maybe they're small enough to repair your DNA. Apparently, the whole aging thing is something that has to do with the end of your DNA having either breaking off or growing. It's something that your DNA length or something like that changes over time, if I remember what I read or watched at some point. And it's that change in the length of your DNA that causes you to age. I think there's the very tail end of your DNA has some kind of structure on it that breaks off over time or degrades over time, and that's why you end up aging. And if they could figure out a way to have nanites that go in there and rebuild that and put it back the way it's supposed to be, you could be 25 forever. And how cool would that be? You have the wisdom and experience of, you know, hundreds of years of living, but you still look like you're 25. That would be, I would love it if I could go back to being 25 again. Oh man. Oh man, that would be awesome. All right, well, unfortunately, we are very far into our episode at this point. I've been gabbing on about random things, which is what I try to do. The last couple of weeks, I feel like I've been struggling to, come up with topics beforehand because I keep taking all my topics and talking about them during the live streams. Nice little, very closely orbiting binary star. Yeah, close binary relative to size is what the observatory is telling me. I would typically try to land, but I'm at the point now where I'm kind of tired of trying to go find a place to land when I do these. So I think we're going to just go ahead and log out in space. If I remember, we'll try to scan this body of this system before we head off to the next one. But yeah, to prove my point that I've said many times, you don't have to log out on a planet. I just generally prefer to do that. But for this particular ship especially, if you go back and watch my previous video on how I would love to be able to use it, leaving it in space is actually more lore friendly from my perspective. So we're gonna go ahead and just log out here. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to click the like button to spread the video out to more people. Subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. You can join as a member if you'd like early access to videos and help support our work, among other perks, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with the thanks button. So again, thank you very much for watching this episode of the Deep Space Carrier series. Be sure to come back for our next adventure in the Beluga, and I'll see you then.